to this important seminar on food pricing policy in Pakistan. It is a joint effort between Pakistan Institute of Development Economics and Food and Agriculture Organization of United Nations, FAO. We are thankful to Dr. Nomina Anis, Project Manager of Food System, FAO, for joining us today. The presenter today, the paper to be presented by Dr. Abedullah. Dr. Abedullah comes with 20 years of experience on agriculture, environment, and climate change. So I hope we will have fruitful discussion and we have a lot to learn about and discuss on this important topic, because inflation, prices, and market forces, while laissez-faire and market intervention are the hot topics of today. So with this, I will request Dr. Abedullah to please deliver his talk.
Thank you very much. And I also would like to thank you, Dr. Nomina, for considering us as a potential candidate to conduct this study. So I'm really highly thankful to FAO. So now, the title of my presentation basically is Food Pricing Policy in Pakistan. So when we are talking, and basically these are the contents of my presentation. Basically, I will talk about these aspects, so one by one. So let us talk, first about the introduction. So basically, government use different tools, basically, in order to implement food pricing policy. Among those tools, the major are basically input subsidies and also price support, and sometimes they also use basically tariffs on export and import. But in Pakistan, which are most commonly used in pricing policy tools, are basically input subsidy and price support. But if we look at, these tools has also different implications then. Among those, basically, if government fix the prices, for example, below the equilibrium point, then there could be basically the shortage of food, because the demand will be higher than because demand will be more than the actual. So similarly, if government fix the price above the equilibrium level, then there could be surpluses of foods. So, and moreover, basically, these tools sometimes also affect the investment process. So, for example, if government is giving subsidy on fertilizer, so currently, as in case of Pakistan, 200 billion of fertilizer subsidy is given to the fertilizer producers indirectly, in fact, in terms of cheaper gas. So in the presence of such a high subsidy, the foreign investment will be reluctant to come in, because they can't compete with the local sector, of course. So in this way, these tools sometimes hinders the investment as well. So in addition to this, basically, these interventions are very costly. So, for example, if government has to give, price support, government has to spend a lot on that. Similarly, if government has to give input subsidy, as I mentioned in case of fertilizer, that government is spending almost 200 billion every year. So if we see the outcome of that fertilizer subsidy, I analyzed in another knowledge brief. If we see that basically on an average, a family of 5 people is getting benefit of 900 per annum. If we convert it into, per month, it's only 75 rupees for a family of 5 person. So on the other side, government is spending almost 200 billion. So, if we divert that investment towards basically on R&D, really we can get a big jump in yield in terms of research. So by doing research. So in addition to this, so these tools also had negative effect on the productivity. For example, in case when we are giving subsidy on irrigation, then irrigation water is using, blindly, and then it really affects the productivity. So that's why we are sometimes talking that why we are growing sugarcane while it's a very water intensive crop, because it's free of cost. So then it also, hinders to basically utilize the efficient technology. Because when we give the free water, then why farmers should use the water saving technology? Because that is expensive. So they will not go towards that. So in this way, on one side, we're using these tools. The objective of these tools is to just to provide the cheaper prices or low prices to the low income group. But in fact, it distort the markets and really it affects many segments of the economies. So sometimes it also basically creates a food crisis. So on the one side, government is using these tools, in fact, to provide cheaper food to the poor people, but sometimes it creates food crisis because now when we are giving subsidy on the price support on wheat, then farmers are reluctant to grow other crops such as fruits and vegetables, which are competing with the wheat. That's why in Rabi season, if you see that almost 80% of the area is being allocated to the wheat crop. So if we see over time, we can clearly see the import of fruits and vegetables is increasing over the time. Similarly, because the edible crops are also basically competing with the wheat crop. So our edible import is now currently is about 4.5 billion per annum. So that's the reason, because we are supporting only single crop and wheat. So that's why our mainly focus on grain crops such as wheat, rice, and maize, but by ignoring other crops. So food security does not mean only availability of grain, but we need to also focus on the other crops such as edible crops and fruits and vegetables. So such tools basically also affects the inequalities. So because when we are giving subsidy, for example, on irrigation or fertilizer or some other inputs, large farmers are using it in large quantity and small farmers are using in small quantity. So it means large farmers are getting more benefit than the small farmer. So in this way, it also creates inequality, in fact. So these tools. So we have to very careful while we are applying these different tools, in fact, in food pricing policy. So having said that, now the main objective of this study basically is to analyze the price control mechanism for major food commodities and review of the regulatory framework under which price controls are implemented. And second objective is to provide empirical evidence of effective pricing mechanism that can stabilize prices in the long term and suggest an efficient pricing mechanism which may enhance welfare of the various stakeholders such as consumers, producers, and the governments. So now there are certain acts at the federal level and at the provincial level which allows basically governments to intervene in the market. So among those acts, the Foodstuff Control Act of 1958 and the Price Control and Prevention of Profiteering and Hoarding Act 1977 and Registration of Goods Act 2014, which exists at the federal level. Because no agriculture has transferred to the basically and the provinces. So such act also exists at the province level, such as Sindh Essential Commodities Price Control and Prevention of Profiteering and Hoarding Act of 2005 and the Punjab Agriculture Produce Market Ordinance of 1978 and Punjab Agriculture Marketing Regulatory Authority Act 2020. So if we really now want to minimize the role of government in the marketing, food marketing, then we must need to bring changes first in these acts, because we have to close the doors of the government to intervene in the market. Otherwise, they have, officially they have right through these acts to control the prices, which one way or another way, basically bringing the inefficiency in the marketing system. So Peter Timmer very rightly said that food is the life of the people. Therefore, it has become political commodity, especially in modern times, where Nothing can bring people into the cities faster and more spontaneously than a rapid run-up in the cost of food. So food prices are very touchy, especially in the developing country. As we can see, everybody is nowadays talking that the food inflation thing, because although prices of other commodities are also increasing with the same rate, but because food is consumed by everybody, so it's on daily basis, our money is going from our pocket. So we are very touchy about that. So now before talking about this, table, let me give some background about this table basically. So we have collected basically prices from 4 mega cities at the retail level. So among those is going to include Rawalpindi and Islamabad and Lahore, Faisalabad and Multan. Basically what we did, we selected 6 retailers in each cities, 2 who were dealing with the low income groups, and 2 retailers who were supplying these products, these commodities to the middle income groups, and 2 were dealing with the high income groups, so that we can have the maximum variation among of the prices. So we continuously collected this data for the 10 consecutive days. So during the same consecutive days, we also collected data from the DCO prices for the same commodities. So basically, now what are the DCO prices? Basically, government has allowed the DCO offices to intervene in the market, especially on which commodities that we are daily basis using, especially fruits and vegetables. So they are, fixing the prices on daily basis, and then they try to implement it. So the objective of this is to basically provide relief, or to protect the consumer from the exploitation of the retailers. So behind that, then we also, in meantime, we also, as I mentioned, we collected the prices at the retail level, and then farm gate prices are basically auction prices that every day take place in the mandis. So we are also collected those prices. So then we take the average, and now you can see that in the second column, farm gate prices, which are 115 for onion. I won't go one by one. So basically, and this in this third column is DCO prices. And then basically, if you see here, basically here are the retail prices, and these are the average and minimum maximum. So then we basically, in the third last column, we estimated the percentage difference between farm gate prices and DCO prices. So now you can see in the third last column, the difference between farm gate prices and DCO prices varies from 7.4% to almost 6.2% to 20.3%. So if we take the average of this basically whole column, third last column, so the value that we get is almost 10.5%. So it means, the difference between farm gate prices and the retail prices that DCO offices give is 10.5%. So now, on the other hand, retailers are facing different costs. What are those? The transportation cost, labor cost, and also sometimes rent of the shops, and also the cost of waste. So all these costs cannot be covered within this 10.5%. So that's why we are believing, and we are also observing on daily basis, that DCO prices do not prevail anywhere in Pakistan. So then what is the objective of this whole exercise? If it has not to be implemented, or it cannot be implemented, then what is the use of that? A large, amount of labor that we're deploying for this purpose. Almost in each district, there is a market committee which generate these prices, and these are prices are useless, cannot be implemented, because that does not cover the cost that retailers are facing. So then when we take the difference between the actual retail prices that we collected with the farm gate prices, so which is basically in the second last column, minimum difference and maximum difference, you can see here the difference is varies from 20% to 126%. So if we take the average of minimum difference whole column, we get the value of 55%. So it means the difference between minimum difference between farm gate prices and the retail prices is 55%. The maximum difference is 75%. So, I mean, having less than that, retailers can't operate. As I mentioned that they are facing different costs. So when we are trying to, bound them that they should really sell at the DCO prices, which is not possible at all. So second thing, it will, because there are different segments in the market that exist. High income group, medium income, middle income group, and low income group. They demand different kind of product. High income group demands high quality product. They don't care about the prices. So through DCO prices, we are trying to kill this variation in the supply of the product. So in other words, we are promoting low quality product, which is called lemon in the market. Lemon market, in fact, we are promoting through DCO prices. So neither it can be implemented, and moreover, it is costly because we are spending a huge amount of money in terms of wages or the salaries of these market peoples. So what the product that they are giving, that's neither it is implementable, neither it is useful. So now these last comparison that I want to make here is with the retail prices that PBS, Pakistan Bureau of Statistics, generates. So you can see here the prices that is generated by the PBS is close to the DCO prices. So again, we need to really think that the DCO, the Pakistan Bureau of Statistics should be rational enough basically while generating the prices, because these prices are the indication, because the PBS is the custodian to generate the historical data. And these prices indicates and for the businessman people, because based on these prices, the people decide what to grow, what not to grow, what to sell, what not to sell today, what to preserve for the future and what not to preserve. So by keeping this in mind, basically these prices are very important, which are generated by the Pakistan Bureau of Statistics, but it should be based on rational. We believe the current prices, they are showing at a lower level than the actual prices, then we will see also in case of wheat. Basically, objective to do that is to show the less inflation or than the current and the inflation that actually exists. So just to please the government that look, inflation is not so high. They are keeping the numbers low. So this basically we have discussed. And now let us basically move toward the historical prices of wheat during the last 5 years. So if you see here, basically the spot prices that government gave and to the wheat farmer is reported in the second column. And then if we compare it with the international prices, when we converted the international prices by using the exchange rate of the same year, so you can see the prices are close, to international prices are close to the spot prices, or even, in some years, the international prices are even less. So then if we see the average retail prices during the same years are basically also close to the, the international prices. So if we look the minimum retail prices and maximum retail prices, the objective that I want to make here is basically to discuss this table, that if we see the maximum prices, for example, and because this table is based on the information generated by the PBS, data reported by the PBS. So if we see, for example, 2021, and the prices, maximum prices of wheat, they are reporting 61.1 rupees per kg. But in fact, last year prices went to 90 rupees per kg of wheat. So this is again underreported. Now, because this prices have to generate indication for the investor that should we import wheat from the abroad or not, or should we keep the price, keep the product reserve for the future months. If these prices, how the business will take place in the future, all depends on this. These are the notions, for the businessman people. So if these prices are not reported correctly, then I think again we are discouraging the business activities in Pakistan. Similarly, now this data I reported is up to November, 15 November. Look, the 2021 and 2022, the maximum prices of wheat they are reporting is 86.9 rupees per kg. While in the market, it has gone up to 110 rupees per kg. And currently, it has gone even up to 150 rupees in December. So again, they are underreporting these prices. So first, we need to really correct our own home if really we want to generate the business activities and want to correct the marketing system. So here, the objective of this, graph is to show that over the time, how the productivity basically is changing, especially of wheat. So if we see that the area is declining over the time, but the growth of production is increasing, indicating that the production growth basically mainly driven by the yield growth. So because we are focusing much on wheat crop and other grain crops as rice and sugarcane. So if when I analyze, which I not reported here, and other that is part of this report. So the growth of these three crops, wheat, rice, and maize, and sugarcane, is basically the major growth is coming from the yield growth. So because there is a much focus on this. So if we compare it with the other crops, almost all crops, among those include fruits and vegetables, and also edible crops and pulses, the growth line is declining even in some cases, the yield growth, because we are not focusing on those crops. The main focus of the government and resource allocation is only on major crops. So if we really, and that's why as I mentioned earlier, that over the time, basically the import of fruits and vegetable is increasing, the fruit and the import of edible oil is increasing, because we are not giving due weight to those crops. So again here, I compare basically the prices from October basically to onward basically of wheat flour and wheat. So you can see the difference is sustained over the time, almost of 25 rupees per kg. So now can somebody imagine that in order to convert wheat into flour, it costs too much? It takes 25 rupees per kg to convert wheat into flour? It's not. So here basically the PBS is playing. They are reporting the prices of flour, wheat flour, rightly, but keeping the wheat prices low. So in fact, as I mentioned that, currently in December, the prices of wheat has gone to 150 rupees per kg. And wheat flour prices has gone to almost 120 rupees. So that is reasonable. You can see the different 5 rupees of grinding wheat into flour. But what they are reporting here, the difference is almost 24, 25 rupees. So which is, in fact, is not. And neither it is logical. Everybody can imagine that. How comes that the wheat flour prices is, for example, difference could not be 24 rupees per kg, because it does not cost to convert wheat into wheat flour. Yeah, fine flour, challenge. So now, here I try to evaluate basically the government footprints in wheat markets. So for this particular years, 2021 and 2022. In this year, government basically purchase wheat from the farmers equal to 8.57 million tons. So which is almost, 81% of the marketable surplus. So because we assume basically that 60% of the total production is consumed by the farmers and the left is marketable surplus. So 8.57 is 81% of the marketable surplus that government has purchased from by fixing the minimum support price. It means government is one of the major player in the wheat market. So if, I mean, they are buying such a big amount, then why private sector take risk to buy wheat from the farmer? Because they know that they cannot really harvest the benefits, because government is going to play a major role. Whenever the price will start to increase, the government will try to release the wheat from their stocks. So government purchase wheat from the farmer at the rate of 55 rupees per kg. So now government face different kind of costs. Among those costs, basically because government take loan from the banks and for the 10 months, and we estimated the interest or that on that loan. And then government also, basically face some other costs of handling with, cost of PASCO and also cost of the people who are working there and to take care of that. If we add up all these costs, so the price at the retail level should be 70 rupees per kg in the last column, so first row. So now you can see that from here, if we say that government, for example, would not have played its role, would not have buy wheat, it should be totally under the private sector. Then it means we are saying the retail prices should be 70 rupees. Let us add 10 rupees profit for the private sector. So prices will be in the market, will be 80 rupees about. So, but since September, the prices have gone above 100 rupees. So now what is the fun to do all these activities if government cannot, keep the prices low? The objective of this interference in the wheat market to keep the prices low, but they failed to achieve this objective. Now there was basically also gap between supply and demand. So that's why government decided to import wheat from the international market, and they buy wheat from the Russia. And the price that, when we convert that price into local price, and that is 82 rupees per kg. So by adding the transportation cost, loading and unloading cost, so which is 8.2 rupees per kg, it becomes 90 rupees, 90.6 rupees per kg. So now, but the current prices are 110 rupees per kg. When government will supply this wheat in the international market, prices will not come back from 110 to 90 rupees because there is no competition, only single supplier by the government. So if these activities would have take place under the private sector, then there will be large large suppliers in the market. The prices could have come back from 110 rupees to 90 rupees, because here we have added, 10 rupees profit of the private sector. So similarly, if we are saying, moreover, if the same wheat would have been imported by the private sector, because at that time when we bought from Russia, the prices in the international market was 76 rupees per kg, but we imported at 82 rupees per kg. It means if activities would have done under the private sector, it would be more competitive and more efficient, and we could have bought that wheat from the international market at the rate of 76 rupees per kg. And by adding transportation, loading, unloading costs, and also by adding the profit of 10 rupees for the private sector, the price would not have gone more than 94 rupees per kg. So, but the prices currently are that we are facing is more than 100 rupees, 110 rupees per kg. So it means now government is spending almost 131 billion on these activities without generating any benefit to the consumers or to the producers. So now we are saying if these activities that money, which is the taxpayers' money, has gone to the flour mill's pocket or to the middleman pockets. So if these activities would have take place under the private sector, then at least government would have saved this 131 billion that's spent on this activity. And then government can right to intervene under circumstances. So we are saying, for example, now when we add 10 rupees profit, as I said, if private sector would have imported this wheat, after adding 10 rupees profit of the private sector, the price should not go up from above 94 rupees per kg. So government can announce, okay, if prices in the local market will increase beyond 25% from the international market, then government has the right to intervene in the market. So at that stage, government can start to intervene. And for that purpose, they can keep a buffer stock of 2 to 3 million tons. So, but that should be released under special circumstances when price will release beyond 25% of the international market, so that we can keep the prices below 100 rupees per kg. So it means the government activity that they spent a lot of money on that, but did not generate any benefit, neither to the consumer, neither to the producer. A private sector would have purchased from the farmer, I'm sure they would have offered much higher prices what government did. 55 rupees per kg, because there will be high competition among the, and it happened in the 2019 and 20, when government purchased prices from the farmer at the price of 35 rupees per kg, while private sector offered 40 rupees per kg to the farmers, because they were competing with the government. And then governments basically, that through police and other, they use mechanism because they did not able to achieve their targets. And then they try to, go in farmers' home, and that you have hired the wheat and bring it out, and so on. So, we believe that market should be free. Government should reduce its footprints. It is not generating any benefits, neither to the consumer, neither to the producer, and it is distorting the market. And moreover, and government also has, it is, costing it, huge amount. So because every year government is spending large amount of money by interference in the wheat market. Now, POSCO is facing a debt of almost 800 billion rupees. So this implies that this activity is not sustainable anymore. How long it can go? So finally, they have to, convert and go to the open market system. But still, we are saying that government can intervene under special circumstances when prices will reach beyond certain levels. So, or similarly, when prices will go below certain levels, then governments can intervene by buying from the farmers. So this basically we have discussed. So now let's move towards inflation basically. So we believe that basically in inflation, exchange rate plays a major role, in fact, because in agriculture sector, we are importing large number of inputs, including DAP fertilizer and also seeds and pesticides, so which are playing major role. So if you see here, starting from, for example, June 2021 to onward, you can see a strong correlation between exchange rate and food inflation. So that's clearly indicating that exchange rate is playing a major role in the food inflation. So when we are saying, there were some studies which have been conducted earlier, and they are claiming basically the fixing high minimum support price is a source of inflation. And then basically I negate that and that argument by arguing that because wheat is of the minimum, when we increasing minimum support price, it's also victim of inflation. We offer minimum support price, higher minimum support price, in order to compensate the farmer, in order to compensate the increase in cost of production. So here basically you can see enlisted different component, cost of production, and also farm gate prices that government offers to the farmers. over the last 5 years. So then I also estimated the profit. So here you can see when I compare, for example, the profitability of 2019-20 with the base year of 2017-18, and you can see the profitability has declined 17% in 2019-20 compared to 2017-18 because of inflationary factors. And then when we compare the profitability in 2020-21 with the base year 2017 and 18, again, I mean, there is a decline in profitability of 4.2%. So this indicates that basically the government that offered the minimum support price was not sufficient to offset the inflationary effect. And the resultantly what happened? Farmer tried to divert the area towards other competing crops, and government realized it, and that's why basically then in 2021 and 2022 they significantly increased the minimum support price from 1650 to 2200. So because they were feeling that otherwise the area under wheat cultivation will further decline, that could, I mean, reduce further the production, and we have to finally import bigger amount of wheat. So in fact, I mean, when we are saying that and the wheat prices are increasing, it's not basically, I mean, create inflation. We have to look the other side of the picture. Rather, it is also the source of inflation. So that's, I mean, discuss. Now, finally, the conclusion is government footprint in food market is costly and inefficient, implying that government must withdraw its hand from the food markets. And we believe that the competition in food market could lower the prices and could help to allocate the resources more efficiently than currently that is being allocated. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Abedullah, for your insightful presentation. It's definitely have a lot to think about, specifically the mechanism to fix prices, the DC office. You definitely know that they are neither trained nor they are equipped enough to monitor the prices and to devise a basis or a mechanism to fix prices in the market. So it's definitely an inefficiency. Another shocking revelation that you said is that inflation is underreported. So we are hard hit by inflation, but looking at your findings, we have to think more about the phenomenon, not just relying on the reported figures only. So it's a kind of distortion in our analysis as well. Now I would open the floor for questions. So if you have any comment, any question, please go ahead.
So the whole analysis is on the basis of price control, कि government का footprint होना चाहिए नहीं. So what are your thought about the quality control, especially जब हम food की बात करते हैं, and obviously prices are linked with the quality. What are your thought on it?
I think that's what I'm saying. When government is controlling price, it means we are promoting less quality product. That I also talked that we are promoting lemons. So when we really, I mean, government will not intervene, then automatically market will go towards grading. Then they will respond the markets. The supplier will respond the markets. Those segments of the society which are demanding high quality product, automatically there will be high quality product, because there is no bottleneck on prices. But when you're putting the bottlenecks on prices, then they can't do that under that price level which government is fixing. They can't, I mean, supply that level of quality. So that's what we are saying, that remove the bottlenecks. So automatically, I mean, the market should respond according to the demand. I mean, the low income segment of the society don't care about the quality because they are very touchy about the prices. So market can supply low quality product there. But among high income groups, they are very touchy about the quality. So that market will respond to that, because it happens currently. Because if you go really, I mean, if F6 and F7, you can find high quality product. but that quality level you can't maintain, or neither it is available in other parts of Islamabad. The reason, because they are willing to pay high prices. So market is responding to that. So I mean, that depends on the situation, that how government is controlling the markets. So yes, I mean, further government can put bottleneck on quality to rather the marketing that they are doing work on generating prices, rather they can put efforts to control the quality. So they should fix a minimum standards of quality, that below this standard we can't allow to sell in the markets, even in the low income segment of the society. Dr.
Ji,
Zishan want to ask something.
Ji, Assalamu alaikum. As sir, you have mentioned that as far as the wheat pricing is concerned, you have mentioned that there needs to be a threshold, and there needs to be some condition where government may intervene. Otherwise, there is no need to. So similarly, for the case of fruits and vegetables, as we have seen, the retail prices sometimes go very much higher as compared to the government set prices. So do you think that for the retail prices of fruits and vegetables also, there needs to be some way when government can intervene, or it's an overall way that government shouldn't intervene anyhow? Thank you.
I think in case of fruits and vegetable, it is not possible, because government do not have stock to release. Even, I mean, how they can control? There is not a stick that they will remove and control the prices. There are tools through which, I mean, prices can be controlled, but through supply and demand mechanism. In case of in fruits and vegetable, government has no stock that they can release, or they can buy and dump it in their warehouses. So that's why, again, it has to be through open market mechanism. So, but in case of stable crops, as I mentioned, in case of wheat or in case of rice, that is possible, because government can keep some buffer stock to intervene in the market, which is not possible in case of fruits and vegetables.
Sir, मेरा भी सवाल, I must say excellent presentation, well collection of data, very fresh and recent data, wonderful analysis. तो मेरा जो सवाल है, that is also relevant with the intervention, कि intervention का level कितना होना चाहिए? एक तो buffer stock होगा जो हम अपनी market से collect कर लेंगे. Let's say market में demand बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ गई है, तो फिर गवर्नमेंट इंटरवेंशन किस लेवल पे होना चाहिए? मार्केट की हद तक होना चाहिए, या इंटरनेशनल लेवल पे भी जाके गवर्नमेंट को किस तरह से इन्वॉल्व होना चाहिए? तो उस बारे में भी थोड़ा
नहीं, उसमें डॉक्टर साहब, आई डोंट थिंक कि गवर्नमेंट को इंटरनेशनल लेवल पे मतलब इन्वॉल्व होने की जरूरत है. When market signals automatically, because generate indications that to the private sector what action need to be taken. So as I said, when prices, for example, start to increase in the local market, now, as I said, that from the international market, we purchase at 82 rupees per kg. If local prices has gone, for example, at 110 rupees per kg, and if somebody, I mean, market is freely working, everybody who wants can import from the international market, they will, I mean, apply the economics. That, okay, the current prices are, for example, 110 rupees per kg. If I import from the international market by 82 rupees per kg, by adding 10 rupees, 8 rupees transportation cost and 10 rupees profit margin, then prices will be almost 100 and 102 rupees or 100 rupees per kg. But the current prices are 110 rupees or 150 rupees per kg. By looking this margin, they will automatically decide to import. So, but the import process should be basically quite open and fair, because currently you know that the government is very strongly controlling the market. Even if they have to, I mean, private sector has to import, they have to get the permission from ECC committee, which took sometimes long time to get permission, up to 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and market is changing every day. And prices are, I mean, quickly changing. So, I mean, when there should be no such barrier to get permission. So anybody, whenever they feel that we need to import, it should be imported.
Okay, we have a few questions online, so let's go to them. Sovia Rose, please unmute yourself and ask the question.
Assalamu alaikum. It's a very wonderful presentation by Dr. Ubaid, and the facts you are bringing forward are really surprising. I have actually, because the questions I wanted to ask that have already been discussed, like the level of government intervention. Uh, 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 like you have created two scenarios, one for vegetables and fruits and one for the stable crops like wheat and rice. So my question is very small, like for example, quite we can say that a hypothetical scenario, we can create a hypothetical scenario where there is no any government intervention. It's a free economy, free market, sorry. And without any government intervention, how do you see the artificially created price hikes by the producers or by the retailers? And how do you see the consumer exploitation? Like this is the thing I need a clarification on this from your experience judgment.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sobia. I think, I mean, if you look the situation, current situation in case of fruits and vegetable, as I said, that the DCO prices are not effectively implemented and neither it can be effectively implemented. So not, do you think that there is any exploitation of the consumers? Because there is large competition in the market. Wherever you go, there are 10 retailers are standing and competing with each other. So if you feel that one is charging high prices, you immediately move to the second. So moreover, especially in case of fruits and vegetable, you know that it's perishable commodity. It cannot be preserved for the longer period of time. And even if they will, I mean, put in the cold storage, the cost of cold storage is quite high. And that's basically happening in Pakistan. So especially if you look the market of tomatoes, I mean, suddenly prices goes high. What happens basically, there is a gap and comes of the harvesting time, because in some provinces harvest comes early and in other some provinces come little late, and there is also gap of few weeks during which prices goes very high. And before, what we were doing during those particular weeks, we were importing tomato from India, but now there is a ban. We can't import. That's why, I mean, suddenly prices are gone. So similarly, in case of onion, especially currently, the onion prices are quite high because the Sindh province is one of the bigger producer of onion, and which has badly affected with the flood system. So that's why the onion prices are still continuously going high. So unless, I mean, come to normal situation there. Otherwise, we have to go for import. I don't think that there is really any exploitation by the retailers or by any other in the markets of the consumers.
First of all, I would like to say that we are very thankful to PIDE and Dr. Abedullah for conducting this study. And it has brought a lot of evidence and a wonderful presentation that was given by him. And definitely we would like to use this study in our future collaboration with the government and advocacy to the government that the markets should not be intervened in the way that they are being done now. And it's we have seen from the presentation and from this report that it is not beneficial for anyone, and it is creating problems within the sale of the food, as well as bringing problems to the farmers, retailers, sellers, as well as the consumers. They are not getting the good quality food many a times because of these artificial interventions. So I think we should not regulate in the way that we are regulating the markets now. And we will definitely send these recommendations to the government for future programming. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nomina. With this, we will conclude by thanking Dr. Abedullah, Chief of Research PIDE, Dr. Nomina Anis, Project Manager, Food Systems, FAO, and all the participants online and physical at AR Kamal PIDE. With this, thank you all. Take care.